Welcome to Ummah Unleashed. I'm so excited to be speaking with our sister Zahra Aljabri. Welcome to Ummah Unleashed.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, to be a part of this.
No, thank you. This is a really exciting initiative that we're putting together, and I'm excited to speak to you and hopefully introduce you to an audience of people who maybe they don't know who you are, what you're about, what you do. But we're coming together as coaches, as Muslim coaches, and kind of planting our flag and saying, coaching is a thing in the Muslim community, and Muslim coaches are here to help. And actually, you're doing some incredible work in that regard, and I want to kind of uh, tap into that and hear more about that. But just in case for maybe the people who don't know you so well, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and maybe the moment that you knew that Allah was calling you to be a coach?
Good question. Okay, a little bit about me. I am the children of Kenyan immigrants, grew up in the white suburbs of California, tried to be a good little Muslim girl going to Sunday school, did all the things, did well in school, went to college, went to law school, worked as a lawyer, got married, had my first child, and started then to feel like I was struggling to get through to the next levels of what I wanted. I started a business, and it was really that entrepreneurship journey. That's like a spiritual accelerator. So for all the entrepreneurs, side hustle, whatever, that is a spiritual boot camp. So starting that business is really forced me to look at myself and deal with a whole bunch of things, and grow in that way. And was it? It was, yes, it was through all the growth that happened. And I began sharing that growth with others. I started this email newsletter, where I would just send these weekly notes of like what I learned that week. And that was part of what the nudge was of like, you're supposed to be a coach because people emailing me back, replying like, "Oh my gosh, that was so helpful. Like, how did you handle that in your business? How did you, manage these different things?" I was running a marathon at that time. And we had 3 children at that time. All of these different things, and the response back and the sharing of the insights. Sharing helped me integrate the insights more, and hearing people's responses added depth and layers to whatever insights I was getting. And that's when I really understood that like I'm good at this. I have an ability to help people shift their perspective or see what they're missing and see what they're blocked. And I really do want to lean into it and be a coach.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And it's an incredible journey. I totally agree. Entrepreneurship is spiritual boot camp, spiritual accelerator. It is, the journey to Allah can be through entrepreneurship. And I love what you said about the perspective shifts and the blockers. And that's a lot of what we're trying to do with this upcoming event that we're going to talk about in a second, but a lot of what you do. So can you tell us maybe number one, what is the number one obstacle that Muslims face when they're trying to start something up or make an impact, or, they have some kind of project that they're working on, something that they care about, but they're not, they're stuck. Like it's like a mindset barrier. Well, how do you help them overcome that? What is the obstacle and how do you help them?
Yeah, so I usually find it occurs in kind of one of two ways. So either a person is trying to start something, grow something, whatever, and they have a sense of what it is. They're like, I'm just so scared to be seen, or I'm scared of failure, or whatever. And they kind of know what it is. Um, but they still, even with the knowledge of what it is, they still don't know how to overcome it. Like, I'm scared to be seen, and then they just never be seen for 5 years. They just keep telling everyone about that. I'm just so scared to be seen. I want to do this, and I'm scared to be seen. So there's those people. And then there's other people that are trying to do something and they don't know what the resistance is. And they think that their way of thinking isn't impeding them, and they think it's something outside of them. So in both cases, though, the work that I do as a coach and that you I know you do as well, is essentially get make there is a problematic way that the person is thinking, that they have not yet identified what the train of thought or grouping of thoughts, several thoughts together, or maybe one main thought, that is the block. And once you shift that thought, change that thought, challenge that thought, you will now be able to be comfortable being visible. Or if the person who doesn't know, you will now know what it is and shift that thought and be able to overcome it. And the work that I do is identify what that thought is. Um, and why it's so helpful, like to do it with the coach, is because the way that each of us think to our own minds seems like the best. Thinking about this totally reasonably and logically, and of course it makes sense. I went da 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 da, and then you're like, maybe I should change something, and then you start somewhere else, and you always end up in the same place because the mind just likes to go the familiar route. So even if you try to adjust things or change things, it somehow ends it up on the same familiar route, and then you never can break free from it, because no matter where you think you're, okay, what about this? I'm hitting it from a different angle. You end up in the same place. And as a coach, I can catch all of those tricks you're trying to play, and the one thought or chain of thoughts that are eluding you, and be like, but what about this? And catch you there, so that now, oh, wait, you want me to challenge that? And then that actually breaks the whole thing.
Yeah. And it's so important what you said, having a third party that is neutral and separate from you to talk it out with, right? Like, if you are left to your own devices, you'll just keep thinking the same way. But what you're saying is, you as an outside person can look into someone else's thought process and say, oh, here, this is all leading us to this thought. Actually, is that even true? And you help people question that. And that's what I find as a coach is like one of the big values, is having like an outside person who can help you with that. Now, one of those things that comes up a lot, so you mentioned like fears, different types of fears. Another one is I hear this sometimes. I'm curious your thought on this. Sometimes people feel unworthy of the vision. It's like they might have an idea for like, oh yeah, the community really needs this, or we need a business that does that, or I have this really great skill or talent, but then they have that voice inside of them of like, well, why me? Like, why would anyone buy from me? Why would anyone support me? Why would I start this? Um, how would you maybe give us an example how you might break that one down?
Yes, this one's a really common one for Muslims. And here's where it's actually the exact place where I focus, because I work on religion and spirituality as how it can be blocking you. And so for many Muslims, this fear of unworthiness, or this thinking of unworthiness, disguises itself as humility. Oh, I'm just being humble. Like, there's other people who are more qualified, or, what if I'm overstepping, or what if it makes people uncomfortable? I should offer this idea to someone else. So this idea of humility, the way that we've understood humility from how the scholars, or how you heard it at Jumma or whatever, makes you think I'm doing something righteous, actually, by not acting on this thing. I'm actually being righteous because someone else may be better suited, or I may be overstepping, or maybe Allah doesn't actually want this for me. And so I'm going against Allah's will. And when you think you're doing something religiously righteous, especially as a Muslim, right? Like, the best, of course, I want to be religiously righteous. I want to be one of the, ulama, or the awliya Allah. Like, I want to be good. And so then, and that just kills you right there, because now we're talking about the thoughts that somehow this is wrong, or this is bad. That immediately shuts you down. I don't want to be wrong, and I don't want to be bad. So working someone through that, well, why do you think, that this is wrong or bad? Or what's the harm of you doing it? Or since you are well situated to do it, who else has your perspective? and who else is situated like you to do it. So challenging people again on their thinking through those things so that they can see the whole and see that this actually isn't humility. This is just fear, or this is just, sometimes it's not even fear. Sometimes it's just cowardice. You're just being cowardly. Like, be brave. Yeah, this thing is scary. Like, it will be scary to put myself out there. It will be scary to invest in this. It will be scary to put whatever it is on the line. Okay, well, you have to be brave. Isn't that part of our faith? To be brave, our faith is not just all humility, there's also bravery. So, challenging what the different elements of our faith, which one takes priority, which one makes sense given your situation. And I think that's a really important point that we have to bring up in coaching, because with coaching, it is personalized. It is personalized to your situation. When you are just listening to the sheikh give a lecture, remember to be humble and don't da 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 da, you're taking generic advice and then applying it to you. Oh, see, I was being humble. But you didn't talk to the sheikh directly, which I actually don't recommend. They don't really do good. The sheikhs are really good at general advice. But you should really coach for personalized advice to be like, hey, that doesn't apply here, or it applies like this. This is how you can do this really big thing in a humble way, but it doesn't mean that you're being humble when you don't do it, right? And so that important fact of understanding, how does this apply to me? How am I applying these religious principles, these Islamic tenets in a way that actually is in line with Islam? Because many people are applying Islamic principles that actually are against Islam.
Exactly. And when you were talking there, I just couldn't help but think this is one of the tricks of shaitan. I mean, really, it's like shaitan comes to someone with great intentions, with skills and talents, and they could really have like a great impact and get a huge reward from Allah for it. And then he comes and whispers in their ear and is like, yeah, but don't be arrogant, like don't be that guy. Don't put yourself out there. That's actually, don't you know the virtues of humility? And it's like the greatest way, like he found your Achilles heel. Like it's the greatest trick to these like righteous people who really want to mean well and want to do good things, is to use like the Islamic angle, and but actually it's actually causing them to shrink from doing more. And I love what you said about the antidote is actually even like a spiritual antidote, and that's one of the themes that we're going to be talking about in our upcoming summit, which is about tawakkul, which is you call it courage, like, yeah, our religion teaches us to not back down, to take risks, and not be reckless, but also to be um bold in how we pursue the different projects or avenues in life. So can you talk a little bit about how that comes into play, especially when you're helping people with these types of kind of mindset issues?
How to be bold, that part.
Yeah, and the tawakkul piece.
Oh, the tawakkul piece. Yes. The tawakkul piece is huge. It's like we already kind of mentioned. We have so much misunderstanding, so much misapplication, actually, I would say, misapplication of tawakkul. Oh, I'm trusting Allah, inshallah. If it's Allah's will, I'll get this job or this thing will work out. That's not tawakkul. That's being lazy. That's being afraid. That's being scared. That's sitting back. That's doing nothing. That's literally not tawakkul. That's literally the opposite of tawakkul. And when we characterize the passivity as tawakkul, we do an injustice to ourselves and an injustice to the world. Because all that does is allow the status quo to stand. And that could be the status quo in your life of whatever things are left undone and unfulfilled, and the status quo of the world, of all the dysfunction and all the harm and all of the evil in the world. We allow it to stand. Well, I'm just being patient through this hardship. Because that's not the example of what the prophets, peace be upon them all, did, is that they faced tremendous challenges and obstacles and difficulties. And they didn't say, well, this is what Allah wills. Allah wills for the Quraysh to boycott us. So now we just sit here and we're hungry and we wait till we starve. Why? No. You come up with a plan, you figure out who you need to enlist, where you need to go. The Prophet ﷺ sending people to Abyssinia, to other countries, sending convoys here. What slaves does he need to buy? All of these different things. Because I trust that God will see a way through this for me. I have tawakkul that God has a plan for me, that God has a way to the goodness, a way for this to come, for me to build it, for me to make it, for me to fulfill this vision in my mind. I have tawakkul in that. And so now I am moving with courage, with faith, with ingenuity, with dedication of like, okay, I tried this, that didn't work. I tried here, that didn't work. I'm going to do how many? The Prophet ﷺ looked for a place to move his people to for 13 years. He didn't go the first town, oh, they don't want us, so I guess it's the will of Allah that we just stay in Mecca and be. The next place, the next place, the next place, the next envoy. Even when he found Yathrib, Medina, it several years for it because he needed the deal to be right. So like, okay, they came, oh, finally I have someplace, let's just go. No, it has to be like this. I need an Ansar paired with every person. I need to be the religious and political leader of it until it was right. Okay, it's good. I have trust in my vision that there's going to be a city of believers. And I am going to believe in that vision and continue and persevere and have dedication to make it come true until it comes true. That's tawakkul. Tawakkul makes you move. Tawakkul makes you brave. Tawakkul makes you bold. Tawakkul makes you persistent. Tawakkul makes you pick yourself back up and go again because you believe. I trust. I believe. I have faith that God's on my side and put this on my heart to make it come to be. And when you have true tawakkul, you are a mover and shaker. If you think, oh my gosh, I trust Allah so much, and you find yourself passive and sitting, that's the shaitan, and you're being tricked.
Absolutely. And I'm just getting chills hearing you talk about that. It's interesting as people go through this process of, starting or, now they're connecting to Allah. The other aspect of what we want to cover in this event that we're doing is about the tenacity. So it's one thing, like if you're stuck and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should start this, or, there's that tawakkul piece. But then it's like, once you're in the game, you're doing the thing, problems happen and it doesn't go the way you want and things are difficult. And, how do you help people keep some momentum? Like what are some of the tips that you might have to help people continue through when times are tough?
Yes, that's such a beautiful question. So the number one tip I have for Muslims to have that tenacity and that ferociousness and that audacity to keep going is to not personalize things. Don't take things personal. And this can be really hard for Muslims because when things happen to us, we have this kind of communal thought of maybe Allah's not happy with me, right? So we immediately make it personal. I'm not good enough. Allah's not happy with me, or Allah doesn't will it for me. Someone else was supposed to do it. Sia was right. Someone else was supposed to do it. They're supposed to be successful. And we think that the resistance that we're facing is personal to us. This is because of something about me, that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have the right connections, I don't have enough money. It's personal to me, so I take it personally and I lose my tenacity. But when you don't take it personal and you're like, okay, this obstacle came up and that's weird, or that's not good, or that's right. All right, not that. So move on to the next thing. Again, the example of the Prophet ﷺ for 13 years. He's not saying, oh, maybe Allah doesn't want me to actually move, find a place for my people. It's like, no, absolutely, Allah wants me to find. So these obstacles are not personal. These obstacles are just for me to move through. I just have to move through this. Okay, I've been stoned by these people in this town, and like I'm sitting here bleeding. Like, okay, it's not here. I gotta move through to the next thing. Because when you think it's personal, you shrink yourself and you kill your tenacity, and you're also thinking ill of Allah, because Allah is not against you. He is for you. And so these things that are not a personal referendum on you. They are just, it's just an obstacle course. And this is each of us have our own specially designed obstacle course. And the obstacle course is not personal. The obstacle course is just the skill that I know that you need to develop so you can move through. So some people have to make huge leaps, and some people have to climb and hang from things, and other people have to swim through swamps. And it's not, oh, well, they're better because they got to swim through a swamp. Allah must hate me because I have to hang from a rope. No, so I need you to have your rope skills, and I need you to do it and figure it out and just do it. It's not personal.
Yeah, man, that's I love the analogy or the frame of the obstacle course and how we all have our own. That's really powerful. And it's not personal. You know, you just picked a course. Allah has the course picked for you. And even what you said about when the Prophet ﷺ was stoned in Ta'if, that was his dua. His dua was like, "Oh Allah, as long as you're not mad at me, like I'm good," you know, because I know like how vast your forgiveness is, and it's like that's exactly the attitude that's going to help people to break through. So I love that. You've been mentioning a lot of the stories of the Prophet. So I said, I'm wondering, is there like is there like a verse, an ayah, hadith, or something that really captures your coaching philosophy? Or is there something like a story or something that really just inspires you in your work as you work with clients?
Yes, absolutely. So my favorite hadith is a hadith Qudsi, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reported, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam reported that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I am as my servant expects me to be. And that just kind of encapsulates it, because for many Muslims, the way that we were taught Islam makes us see and think and believe that Allah is harsh, unforgiving, petty, um, just like cruel, even like astaghfirullah, all these things. But we think of him, the way many Muslims think of Allah is just like a mean, petty boss. Just like checking, oh, you didn't do that, so you don't get any money. Oh, you forgot to call your mother? Nope, but now you're gonna lose your job. Like, where do we have this conception of Allah? And so much of my coaching work is to fulfill this hadith, that think well of Allah, that Allah is on your side, wanting your good. And like, yes, he put an obstacle course, but he designed it specifically for you, that he knows that you can master it. You are the only one who can master this obstacle course amazingly. And if you believe that you can, and if you apply yourself, you will. Good.
Yes, I love it. Um, that's such a powerful one. Um, and then that's a tough question too. I love how you immediately had a good answer. I was like wonder what she's gonna say on that one. Um,
You're
do you
asking
have
great
a
questions.
yeah, thank you. Do you have an incident, a story? I mean, we're kind of getting into your philosophy now. A moment in coaching, it might be like with a recent client or maybe a first client or an early client where you're like, ah, this is why I do this. Like, tell us like one of those stories where you just had like that satisfaction of, really helping someone or, just the real, the meaning, sense of meaning and fulfillment.
Yes. So one of my early clients, she had broken up with someone um, in her 20s, and she had thought at the time, like, well, if he's meant for me, he will come back to me. And she didn't have a solid reason to break up, and it was just a lot of circumstance overwhelming and whatever. That's why she broke up with him. And then he went on to get married, and now she came to coaching a decade later, and now she's in her 30s and she is not married. And the thought that she had was that I was ungrateful to Allah. Like, Allah gave me someone and I was
Mm.
ungrateful, and and I rejected them, and now Allah is punishing me. And working, and that thought, she didn't want to let go of it. She believed it. So like, she would bring evidence after evidence. Every person that I talked to has worked out, and this thing happened and that thing happened. And working through with her to, why do you think of Allah that way? Why do you think of yourself that way? Why do you think, all of the things? Um, and I still remember when the day that she like the shift actually clicked for her, the like I'm just making this up and I'm making it up, and and that's such a sad, painful story. So many of us have these sad, painful stories about ourselves or about Allah that just make like that's the most depressing thought. Allah gave me something and I was ungrateful and now I can never have it. Where do you go from that thought? If you think God now could never give you the thing because you were naive and dumb and made this mistake, you're just going to be so sad and depressed. So remembering that moment when and it was a lot of coaching work, a lot of different activities, a lot of events for that it clicked. And she's like, I it's so much for her life changed because of that, right? Because it didn't just wasn't just impacting her ability to find a partner. It was impacting how she saw herself. It was impacting how she moved through the world, right? She was feeling, I'm a bad person that God is against. And that affects you everywhere, right? So then she did end up getting married. She got a new, better job. Now she has 2 children, mashallah. So
Awesome.
that it's the toughest clients that kind of give, I probably experienced this too, that give you the most satisfaction as a coach because it requires you to rely on all of your skills and all of your tools for how you're going to help them shift. The people who like you do a couple of things and they shift, alhamdulillah, that's amazing. I love that. That's great. But the ones that they're like stuck and right? We have to be tenacious and keep like, no, we have to keep going, keep figuring out, okay, that method didn't work. That activity didn't work. That prompt didn't help. This visualization wasn't it. What else can I offer to get this person to make that turn? And that is very satisfying as a coach because you really prove yourself and your skills. And it makes you build your skills. I've invented things for clients, invented frameworks, invented activities. So it builds your repertoire. And so, yeah, it's extremely satisfying and makes you a better coach.
Mashallah. You're practicing what you preach. I mean, you're talking about tenacity. Here you are, like you're tenacious when it comes to your clients. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. And it made me wonder, as you talk about this journey that people go through and they have these pitfalls or, obstacles or things, I'm wondering if there was a time for you when you felt like maybe you were failing or that you had a belief or, maybe even before you were a coach, I don't know, but something that you had to work through to get, to the other side. What was that? How did you get through it for your own self?
Yeah. Well, again, that was all entrepreneurship. And my first business, modest e-fashion commerce. Oh my God. Feelings of imposter syndrome that Allah didn't want me to succeed, that it was because I'm Black, that all of those things. Um, and in the end with that business, I actually essentially killed my business because those thoughts and those beliefs were so overwhelming that I just stopped growing my business. And my business was actually doing very good for what it was. It was doing very well. I had paying customers. I had been featured in numerous publications. I won a $50,000 pitch competition. And that pitch competition, that's a story for another day, but it was such a powerful moment for me. But still, not feeling satisfied, not feeling like it wasn't enough. I wanted to get VC funding. I wanted to be in certain publications that I wasn't yet in. I wanted, different partnerships and collabs that I didn't get. Um, Wait, now forgot your question.
It's just anything that you overcome beliefs or,
Oh, yes. And so that essentially kick-started me on this on my journey because I was making dua, asking Allah, like, what is it that I'm missing? Because I'm smart, I'm talented, I'm hardworking, I'm doing everything. That was the height of kind of clothing e-commerce at that time. So I was doing everything those clothing e-commerce gurus said to do. I was doing it. So why wasn't this working?
Mhm.
And Allah very clearly revealed it to me that it was my belief, that it was my lack of faith. Um, And that
How
was,
how was that?
um, it
If you
was
don't mind my
through,
asking.
it was through, um, it came through. First, I watched a movie, The Secret, with the law of attraction. And the law of attraction, essentially, if you don't know, is essentially dua. And it's the law of attraction is 3 steps, right? You ask, you believe, and you receive. And the way that they talked about belief and receiving, I had never heard any religious person in my life speak about belief in that way, what it means to believe in whatever the thing that you want, to believe something will happen, um, and what it takes to receive and how we have pitfalls of receiving. And it was just like an overwhelming sense of how much I lacked belief.
That's incredibly powerful, and it even echoes the story that you shared of the other sister, um, who, and I see this in myself, I see this in clients, where we close the doors to Allah, and we're like, Allah is generous and boundless and giving and providing, and we're like, nope, I don't deserve this, or there's something wrong with me, or there's some reason, some story that prevents the blessings from coming. Obviously, Allah, if He wanted to, could still give us, but we have to be ready to receive. And if we don't do the actions or we don't follow up, it's not going to happen. And so that's a really powerful story of you seeing that firsthand, and that transforming that business, and eventually what you do today, mashallah. Um, and that kind of almost made me think about coaching as a, sometimes, I'm sure you and I as coaches, we help people, but have you ever been coached, or have you ever experienced coaching, or it sounds like you sort of found your way on your own in that situation, but have you ever had outside support, and what has that done for you in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was around the pandemic. So like my business I had already closed, but then now I was on this journey of self-reflection. It was after that understanding that I lacked belief when I started the newsletter and I was beginning to start doing some coaching. Um, where again now in my modest fashion business I'm selling clothing, right? So very clear, like the pricing and the whatever, you are, you know 2x your wholesale price, at least 2.5x, and whatever, you need to figure those things out. Now starting to be a coach, first, first foray, I'm not really sure I'm coaching people for free. Established myself and my credibility and my confidence in myself that, yes, actually, I'm very good at this and I can do this. Now I need to make this a business, need to actually charge people. Boom! I'm not charging for clothing. I'm charging for me. Oh my
Mm.
God. Every insecurity, every fear, a whole nother host of things come up. And it was at that time that I hired a coach. Her name is Shazia Imam. She goes by The Life Engineer, is her website and her Instagram handle. And I worked with her for 18 months. And I did one-on-one coaching package with her for 18 months. Um, and that was so powerful and so helpful to me and so rooted me and grounded me in, again, the false humility. Let me just undercharge, or let me just do something super extravagant. I see someone else. Finding your way, finding your balance, understanding yourself, working with Shazia one-on-one, is the reason why I'm still a coach now. I had not
Wow.
established that foundation. And if I had kind of stayed in that space, and even, I already had the previous experience of the business, um, understanding, what I wanted and what I wanted to achieve, I would not have I would not have been able to survive the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, especially being a coach, when it is you putting, hey, listen to me, talk to me, come to me. When I couldn't do it with a clothing business, and nobody knew who was behind it. Nobody knew who was behind the business. It's just a website selling clothing. So she got me through those initial ups and downs. And then, continuing on now, it's been like 8 years, to be able to maintain and to continue to grow. And that's the thing. That's the thing about coaching, is that it gives you the longevity, because you can do anything for a short amount of time. You can start anything. The initial starting of anything actually is very exciting and can be really fun. But the longevity to stick through it when it's the roller coaster, which it will be, when it's your obstacle course, and there'll be obstacles that you've never heard of, that you've never done, that you didn't even know existed. And you're looking, what is obstacle? What is it? I don't know. If you don't have like a grounding or a basis or like someone to support you, it's so easy to run away, and everyone will support you. Oh my God, you had to face that. I don't know what that is either. Yeah, let's should have glad. Makes sense that you left. And so when you have that person being like, okay, maybe they faced it, which is amazing if they faced it and they're like, can literally guide you through, or they haven't faced it, but like, okay, well, this is here. And so it means that you can overcome it. So let's get to work. And the calmness and the confidence that they bring of just like, yeah, you're gonna leap 10 feet. And we're gonna do it. I'm like, what are you talking about? I can't leap 5 feet. What are you talking about? Your coach is like, you're gonna practice this and you're gonna do that, and then eventually you're gonna leap 10 feet. Okay, I don't know, but you seem so confident, so I'm gonna trust you and do these exercises. I'm gonna leap 10 feet. And then you leap 10 feet and you're like, oh my God, I can do it. And I can do anything. And I can continue on. So yes, having coaching is the reason I'm still here as a coach. And it is so powerful.
Alhamdulillah. I'm so glad. And we're very grateful to Shazia for her, keeping you around. And we had her on the summit, the last summit, the virtual summit as well. So alhamdulillah, it's great to have all the coaches kind of connected here. And one of the things I remember you talking about last time, and especially like with a lot of the clients that you see, is the people who feel like they're doing all the things right, but they're not getting the result. It's like, I'm checking all the boxes, I'm doing all the things, but I don't see it. Is there anything that you would say those people need to either start doing or stop doing in order for the barakah to flow?
Mm-hmm, definitely. So the first thing is, anytime you have the thought of I've done everything, that's a trap. That's an ego trap. So just catch yourself there, like, okay, I haven't done everything. I have tried, and list out the things that you've tried and the things that you've done. So first, having that kind of humility to be honest with yourself and be like, okay, I tried 10 things. And then also even evaluating those 10 things. Of these 10 things, how much did I actually try? One of them, you might have just like, well, I called that one person. Was that actually fully trying whatever that avenue was? Or did you need to call 10 people? Should you have called 20? Like, so the humility to look. And then the second piece is there is an underlying entitlement that comes up where people feel entitled to the results because they gave some amount of effort. And you're judging, the individual is judging, well, I gave this much effort, and I think that's the amount of effort that should require me to get the result. And so where's my result? And I don't want to give any more effort. And why am I being asked to do more effort? And that's not fair that I need to do more effort. And I saw other person, it looked like they gave even less effort than me. And I already gave this much. So this entitlement, again, you're making it personal. It's another way of kind of making it personal. And instead of saying, I will do whatever I need to do, however much it takes, I don't know, but I will keep going until I get the result, you're in a powerful position. Then you are figuring out, you're being tenacious, you're looking at alternatives. That didn't work. What can I learn from it? Okay, I learned this. I'm going to try this one now. That didn't work. Okay. But when you get into that entitlement and then make it personal and then start telling stories about God, that God doesn't want it for me, or this is whatever, I did everything, I don't know what's wrong, maybe it's the evil eye, maybe blah, 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 then you just disempower yourself and you let yourself shrink. But when you can really be honest, evaluate, what did I actually do? How much effort did I actually give? And why do I feel that I can judge the amount of effort that requires the result? And the very clear, easy example is like weight loss, right? Everyone like go to the gym. I went to the gym for 2 months and I didn't whatever. Well, if 2 months didn't do it, you need to keep going. Like there's no, you wanted to run faster or you wanted to bench however much you wanted to bench. If you didn't do it in 2 months, you just have to keep going. You can't complain that the amount of work didn't get you the result. It's just that was not the required amount of work. You need to do more work. And I think right now, especially in our modern society, instant gratification, you can get everything quickly. Also, I'll talk about manifestation and the effortless. We forget that like the Prophet ﷺ, all of them, effort. So, was preaching for 150 years to have a couple of people on his books. Like you don't stop until until it's over, and you don't stop until you get the result, and you don't complain and bemoan how much effort it's taking to get to the result.
That's so powerful. And I never thought of the entitlement even behind the mindset, but that's wow. It's crazy. And the personalization as well. Very powerful reframe there. Okay. So now I think we've given quite a lot in terms of, maybe some of the appetizers for some of the things that we'll be talking about at the summit, which is coming up here January 10th, inshallah, 2026 in Huntington Beach, California. And we're getting 5 of the Ummah Unleashed coaches together for a live in-person experience. And I'm curious for you as one of the coaches, what is a breakthrough that you hope people experience when they come to the summit?
I think one of the most liberating breakthroughs that a person can have is to really become very clear on how they are viewing themselves and limiting themselves. Because we hear a lot about limiting beliefs and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of things we give a lip service to. And it's very different to fully internalize it and have that level of honesty with yourself. So the breakthrough that I'm so excited for people to experience is that deep honesty with yourself. Because the number one person that we are trying to fool and impress and look good to is ourselves. Get around telling me, I did everything. I tried so hard. I'm working so this. I'm so great and whatever. And we're not especially Muslims, because we're trying to be humble. We're not saying it out loud to anyone, but we're saying it to ourselves. And when you can have that they call it the come to Jesus moment, but that come to Allah moment of like, oh, it's me, right? Or whatever, Taylor Swift song. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. So powerful, because all of the things you're trying to achieve, for many people, we perceive that it's in some outside problem, outside force against us, right? The number one outside force, Allah. But then, our boss is against me. My parents won't let me. I have kids, so I can't do it. I can't move. I'm stuck in this location. I'm a woman. I'm a man. I wear hijab. Whatever. So we think it's some physical characteristic or some outside thing, or Allah who is blocking me. What makes it very hard. It's very hard to well, it's because I'm a woman, I can't do this. Well, I can't change that I'm a woman. Well, for Muslim, I can't change I'm a woman. So now what do I do? But when you get to this deep breakthrough, it's only me. You liberate yourself from all of that. You're like, okay, there is nothing stopping me except for me. I can overcome myself, and I can have the tenacity to figure out what I need to do to overcome myself. And I can have the tawakkul, the faith, to understand that Allah wants me to overcome myself, and that obstacle course is designed for me to overcome myself. All right, let's go. It's this deep sense of unstoppableness that you gain. And there's really nothing like an in-person experience. And then I'm so excited to be with you, Kareem, and Ed and Uthman and Megan, to have all 5 of us coaches talking and hitting and doing activities and being hands-on and being face-to-face and one-to-one. with you so that you can get to that moment, because it is that breakthrough, that moment of it's me, that unleashes your power, that unleashes the ummah. That's like unleash that. Okay. And you may, at first it's overwhelming because you're like, oh my God, I don't know where to start. I have so many issues. And that's fine, right? Then you can, we can work together more long term, whatever, all of those things. But knowing it is so powerful.
Yeah. It's like letting the genie out of the bottle, so to speak.
Yes.
And I love the word you said. It's like it's liberating. Like it releases the potential that's inside of you, and that from then it's like the sky's the limit. And yeah, I'm personally excited to hear your session and participate. I personally benefit from everyone. That's part of like the selfish reason why I like bringing everybody together is to learn from you all. But what do you think people who are coming, or maybe they're thinking about coming, what should they prepare? What should they, maybe there's like questions they should ask themselves, or do you have any advice maybe for people who are either thinking about coming or have already bought their tickets?
For people who are thinking about coming, I would say stop thinking and just come.
Okay, fair enough.
Muslims, we tend to be so smart, so intellectual, so think. And this is a moment to lean into your tawakkul and just have faith that that this is going to support me. And if you're listening to this, like that means you either already know Kareem or you already know me, or like, you're somehow someone has sent you this. And just trust that it's for you. Just trust that it's for you. And don't overthink it, and trust the guidance that, because again, that to get to the place where you know that it's you. And again, we're not talking about intellectual, because Muslims know a lot of things intellectually. But does our ummah look like all the things that our Muslim ummah knows? It does not, because we do not embody them and we do not practice them. And what we're going to be doing on that day is moving from the thinking to the embodiment and the practice of it. So stop thinking and get your ticket and come. And if you've already bought your ticket, just be calm. Be calm. You don't need to prepare anything. You can if you want to bring your problems or your issues or things you want to work through, but also don't stress yourself. Trust, again, have tawakkul that you will be led where you need to go.
Yeah, I love that. I was about to buy my own tickets. I was like, wait, she's telling me to buy, let me go out and buy my own tickets here.
Well, you do need to get your flight down.
I know, I know. Actually, we're gonna drive down, so I'll be bringing the whole family, and we're gonna, yeah. So, all right. Last question for you. A dua that you can share, maybe for the people who are thinking about attending or attending the summit, or for the ummah at large. What is a final dua?
Oh, wow. You're really putting me on the spot. Okay. A dua. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oh Allah, bless us each, every one of us in our ummah, to know that you want goodness for us. You want a beautiful life and a beautiful world for us to live in. And that we, each of us individually and as through coming together, have the capacity to build it, have the capacity to bring it forth, have the capacity to overcome all the seemingly huge, surmountable obstacles from everywhere, from every angle, from politics to Zionism to white supremacy to our own bosses or overbearing parents. We have the capacity to overcome all of them to build our beautiful lives and our beautiful world, and make us know that and make us see that and make us believe in that and have the tawakkul and the tenacity to go after it. Ameen.
Ameen. Ameen, ya Rabbal Alameen. Beautiful dua. Thank you so much, Zahra, for taking the time to speak with me and answer my questions here. I know this has been very beneficial for me. I'm sure everyone who's listening has also found it so. And I'm excited for January. And I hope for everyone who's listening, if you're catching this in time, to please go to ummahunleashedsummit.com, get your tickets now. As of this recording, early bird is still available, so you can still get your early bird tickets and get a good discount on those as well. So get those now before the deadline hits, when prices go up, and tell your friends as well, because we want to bring the right people into this room together so that we can all grow and unleash our full potential, inshallah. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you live at the Ummah Unleashed Summit, inshallah.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
Alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, we'll cut the recording there. Let's finish.
Wow, those were good questions.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited. That was great. I feel energized. Like that wasn't, hopefully that wasn't too draining on you. I know I had like a lot of tough questions there, but
No, it was good. It was a lot. It was good.
okay, alhamdulillah. All right, well, I'm gonna get this edited, and I'm thinking of posting the long version, sending it out to my mailing list, and then also doing clips and like tagging you in those, inshallah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, jazakallah khair. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon, inshallah.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Kareem.
Okay. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.